Hello everyone, it's May Larson here and I'm a crew member for the Ciao design team, and today we're going to be creating a book box, and we're going to be using this beautiful paper collection, the Notre V, and as you can see it comes in various sizes. This is the 8x8, then they have the A4 and the 12x12, and I'm going to be using the 8x8 for this project today. We're also going to be using some chipboard, some cardstock, and I tried to use about an 80 to 100 pound weight cardstock, just because I'm going to be using the cardstock to create hinges for our book box. Then we're also going to be using some glue. I love this glue, and also you can use fabric tack if you prefer to use that. You can also use some score tape, your rubber eraser, and don't mind mine, it's a little grody. We're also going to be using, of course, our scissors, a paintbrush, and some other little elements to give it that unique flair that I like. So let's get started. So, of course, we're going to use our paper cutter or paper trimmer, and I've already pre-cut everything, but if you haven't pre-cut everything, I will be giving you the measurements so that you can follow along with me. So let's begin by building the box itself. And to create this, and the box is going to look like something like this. This is what it'll look like once we get it started. So you're going to be needing, and this is a very thick weight chipboard, but this one's 5x5, and you're going to need 2 pieces of the 5x5 inch, not centimeters, 5x5 inches. And then you're also going to need a piece. This is called the base, and it is 2 by 7/8 inch by 5 inches, 1 piece. And for the side pieces, you will need 2 pieces that are 3 inches by 5 inches. You will also need some cardstock, and this is where I say you need about an 80 to 100 pound weight cardstock, because once you start to score it, you might tear it, and we don't want our hinges to tear easily. So I've used about an 80 pound, I think it is, pretty heavy. And I'm using black, of course, because my cardstock or my chipboard is pretty heavy. So you're going to need about 8 hinges that are 1.5 by 5 inches. And you'll also need 4 that are 1.5 by 3 inches. And you're going to score these with your scoreboard at 3/4 of an inch, and go ahead and cut those down, and then you'll miter your edges. I've done that off camera just because I think most of us know how to do that. But if you don't, I can do a little quick explanation on that. Now you can use score tape. I prefer to use score tape, but for this one here, I have gone ahead and used my liquid glue. So let's begin. I'm going to go ahead and grab the piece that has the 2 by 7/8 by 5 inches. And if you see that I kind of mute myself, I'm going to go ahead and speed through this process because I don't want to bore you guys, but I also want to make sure you guys understand what we're creating here. All right, so let's go ahead and grab 2 of the hinges that are 1.5 by 5 inches. And you've already scored them, and you've mitered the edges, and those will go just like so. Here's the base, the 2 by 7/8, and then of course here's our 2 side pieces. So let's begin by taking the base and your 1.5 inch by 5 inch, and this is where you can, it's totally up to you. You can use your score tape. I tore up my house looking for that because we moved and I couldn't find everything, and so I had to go purchase some. But you know what? I said, you know what? I did the demo without it, so we're just going to go with it, right? All right. I like to use, I always have a little handy towel next to me to wipe my hands off, or maybe some baby wipe to wipe off any excessive glue that might seep through. You might need your bone folder as well. I think I forgot to mention that. Pretty sure mine is measured or tucked in here somewhere. And you want to leave a little gusset that's about 1/8 of an inch. Trying to see where my bone folder may have gone to. There it is. Burnish that in. All right, do the same thing on the other side. Notice that I only applied the wet glue on the one side of the hinge. And again, leave 1/8, about 1/8 of an inch. And if you aren't quite sure, just grab one of your pieces of your chipboard and just kind of flush it against there, and that'll give you that 1/8 of an inch spacing. All right, so that's the base. Grab your 5x5, and what you're going to do is you're going to put a bead of glue all the way down on one edge, just like so. And go ahead and place that flushed against the base. Make sure it's entirely flushed in. And press down just slightly. And while you're holding it there on the little flap in the back, grab your glue and apply your glue. And go ahead and pull that over and burnish. Try to hold it in place while I do this. So, all right. So it should look like that. Mine's a little wonky there, but that's because the way it was packaged. All right, there we go. If I'm off camera, I apologize. All right. So we're going to do that, and we're going to do the sides as well, but let's go ahead and get this down. Make sure it's totally flush. I'd like to put a bead of glue right behind against the base of the chipboard. Again. Ideally, you like to let this sit and dry for a bit before you move on to your next little step, but because we are in a video process, I am just going to go ahead. I've never had a problem, but if you fear that it might collapse, try not to put too much pressure on it and have something that will hold it up against it like that. Now go ahead and grab your two pieces that are 1.5 by 3, scored at 3/4, and miter your edges, and that's going to go on the opposite side. And again, we're just going to go and work, leaving a 1/8 of an inch.
Okay, go ahead and grab your two pieces that are 3 by 5 inches and let's attach those to the side of the box.
More of these little 1.5 by 5-inch hinges, and we're going to use those for the side here of these panels. Go like that. So make sure that the sides is meeting up flush in, just like so. Okay. All right. Grab your hinge. From this point forward, I always do one side, and then I work on the opposite side. So make sure you apply one side down, and then work on gluing down the other side. Okay. And I'm going to go and do this off camera, and we'll be back when all 4 sides are done.
So this is what the box will look like once you have assembled all 4 sides to the box. And as you can see, it's pretty sturdy and it will fit a mini chipboard album that is about 4 by 4. This is a little tiny Prima memory hardware from Frank Garcia line, and it fits pretty good in there, and you'll have enough room to apply some embellishments to your album. So go ahead and set that aside, and now let's build the top lid to the book box. And for this, you're going to need some chipboard, some cardstock, and of course your Ciao paper collection Notre V. And we're going to use 2 pieces of chipboard that measures 3.5 by 5 7/8, and your cardstock that measures 5 by 7. And you also need a second layer of cardstock that's about 3 3/8 by 5 6/8, and also your Ciao collection, which is 3 1/4 by 5 5/8. And this is actually the front cover of the Ciao collection, the 8 by 8 collection, and I just kind of cut it down. So again, you're going to need some cardstock, and this one here is 3 3/8 of an inch by 5 6/8. So what you're going to do is you're going to grab your glue and you're going to stack these 2 pieces of chipboard together to give it nice sturdy thickness to this top lid. And go ahead and grab your wet glue. You can also use your score tape. I just find it a lot easier if once you have attached these 2 pieces together, make sure that the hinges are glued down on your box. Go ahead, set that aside, and now you're going to need your craft cardstock or your cardstock that measures about 5 inches by 7 inches. And we're going to adhere these 2 chipboard pieces that we adhere together right on top of that. And you could, of course, use any color of cardstock that coordinates with the paper collection. I happen to use black cardstock, but you can use any that you want. I will be leaving about a 1/2 inch top and bottom and about 3/4 inch on each side. Sometimes what I do like to do is use my scoreboard to make these little markings so that I know where I'm placing the piece that I'm adhering. But for this particular project, I just went ahead and eyeballed it, applied the glue to the chipboard and right down onto the cardstock, leaving the 1/2 inch top and bottom and about 3/4 inch on the side. Once you've had this glue down, you want to make sure that you burnish the other side. And then what you want to do is you're going to kind of fold down those sides, and then you're going to cut out the 4 little corners and miter your little flaps. So right here I'm burnishing, and I am making sure that this paper is adhere to the cardstock. Once this is done, we can then begin to fold down our flaps. So as I stated, you want to cut down these 4 little corners with your scissors, and then you're going to miter your little flaps. So now grab a piece of cardstock that coordinates with the collection, and this one here is 5 by 7. It's the exact measurement as the chipboard that we just covered. This is for the top lid, the inside portion of it. Apply your glue and go ahead and attach this to the inside of the top lid. Now go ahead and grab another piece of cardstock that coordinates with the collection. This particular piece is 3 3/8 by 5 6/8 inch. And we're going to layer this on the top portion of the top lid, leaving about, I would say about 1/16 of an inch around the perimeter of the lid. So then I have then cut another piece of the Ciao collection, and this one is 3 1/4 by 5 5/8 inch, and it will go right on top of the coordinating cardstock that I just previously put down. Once you've got those pieces cut down, go ahead and glue those down to the top exterior part of the lid. Okay, so then you're going to flip that on the inside, and we're going to work on creating a little lip that will attach to the box. For that, we're going to need a piece of chipboard that measures 2 3/4 by 4 7/8 inch, and this is just one single chipboard piece. You're going to set that one aside. You're going to need some cardstock to cover that chipboard, and in this particular case I'm using a black cardstock that measures 4 by 6 1/8 inch. And then you're going to need a coordinating papers, and I'm using a piece that measures 2 by 5/8 by 4 6/8 inch. And the Ciao collection, I cut it down to 2 1/2 by 4 5/8 inch, and that will be layered on top of the previous colors. And so then what you're going to do is just go ahead and attach your chipboard to that cardstock that measured 4 by 6 1/8. And again, remember to leave a little bit of edging so that you can fold and miter your flaps and attach it to the chipboard. So now we've adhered down to the inside piece of the top lid, and just make sure that this piece fits perfectly well on the box. it has to fit right smack in the center portion of that box so that it kind of catches on and it's not slipping off easily. So make sure that it is adhered and it's centered appropriately. So now you're going to grab two pieces of chipboard that measures 2 by 4 inch, and we're going to layer these up by adhering them together, and that's going to go right on top of the outer exterior part of the lid. And then you're going to need some coordinating cardstock to match it, and I have cut a piece of cardstock that is 1 7/8 by 3 7/8, and the Ciao collection that's 1 6/8 by 3 6/8 inch. And of course you're going to need a piece of cardstock, and in this particular case I'm using black, and this is to cover the chipboard, and this one measures 3.5 by 5.5 inch. Go ahead and adhere your two pieces together, stacking them up. And remember, if you have a hard time getting these to stick, just make sure you put something heavy on top and let it sit for a little bit and then come back to the project. So that now that you have these pieces covered and you have had the inside of the top lid covered as well, we're going to attach these to the lid as you see here, but we need a knob. You can use anything for a knob, and it's going to be attached like so. You'll need your piercing tool. I'm going to be using just a regular knob that I had in my personal stash. You want to measure the center point of that 2 by 4 piece, and you're going to need your piercing tool to pierce through, or your crocodile. I'm unscrewing this little knob here. We want that screw to be placed on top of that lid before we adhere it. Now, one more thing we're going to be using are these little pulley wheels, and these are ones that you can find at your nearest craft store. You can also use some little spools, wooden spools, round beads, something to kind of give it a little bit of a lift on the box. So make sure that you select what you're going to use to attach for the feet of your box. And once you've done that, go ahead and set that aside. Now, once I've attached this knob, I'm not going to place it down or glue it down quite yet. I'm going to wait a little bit more, and then I will glue all those pieces together. But it's very important that you make sure that your knob is attached before you glue down. Okay, so now that we have assembled the box, now we're going to start to decorate the exterior and interior of our box. And for this, you're going to need some cardstock that coordinates with the collection. And in this particular case, I'm using the Notre from Ciao, and I'm using a pale pink cardstock along with the black cardstock. The black cardstock, you're going to need two pieces that measures 5 by 5 inch. And then you're going to need two pieces of the coordinating pink that I've used. You can use any, of course. In my case, they were 4 7/8 inch by 4 7/8 inch. You're going to need two pieces. And the Ciao collection was two pieces that measured 4 5/8 by 4 6/8 inch. And for the side, you're going to need two pieces that are 3 by 5 inch of the black cardstock, two pieces that coordinates that was 2 7/8 inch by 4 7/8 inch. And of course, you're going to need your Ciao collection that I've cut down to size, and they were two pieces that were 2 by 5/8 by 4 6/8 inch. And you're going to layer these up and attach it to the exterior of the box. And I also cut a piece for the bottom that was 3 by 5 inch of the black cardstock, one piece that was 2 6/8 by 4 6/8 inch of the pale pink, and of course one piece of the Ciao collection that was 2 by 5/8 inch by 4 by 5/8 inch, sorry. So once you've cut all those, you're going to start to assemble those and attach it to your box. So now you see that I have attach and adhere my exterior portions of the decorative paper. Now we're going to work on the inside. For the inside, you're going to need 2 pieces of the cardstock that is black, 4 7/8 by 4 7/8, 2 pieces of the Ciao, and for this case I only matted it once. That is 2 pieces that are 4 6/8 by 4 6/8 inch of the Ciao collection. And you're going to also need 2 pieces for the side panels that are 2 7/8 by 4 7/8 inch, and again 2 more pieces of the Ciao collection that are 2 6/8 inch by 4 6/8 inch. And for the bottom portion of the interior of the box, you're going to need 1 piece of the black cardstock that was 2 6/8 inch by 4 7/8 inch, and you're going to layer it up with 1 piece of the Ciao collection that is 2 5/8 inch by 4 6/8 inch. And then once you've got all those matted up, you can go ahead and adhere it to the interior portion of your box. I just want to quickly remind you guys that it's very important that we burnish our papers down with our bone folders. As you can see, I have attached the decorative pieces to the exterior and the interior portion of the box. Now we're going to double check to make sure that the lids fit perfectly snug on top of our box. And as you can see, I have not glued these down yet, and that's because I want to make sure everything is fitting smoothly and that we're not leaving anything out. Now this particular box will be holding a 4x4 mini album, and we're going to be creating a part 2 of this video tutorial next week, and we'll create the album that will go inside. Now go ahead and set that aside, and let's go and create the bottom portion, which is base 1 for this project. Okay. So for this portion, we're going to try to figure out what are we using for the foot or the claws of our box. I'm using these pulley wheels, but you can use anything from spools to buttons to beads, whatever you want to use, you can use. You're going to create the bottom base of the box, and this is actually base 2, not base 1. You're going to need some chipboard. You're going to need 1 piece that's 4 by 6. And 1 piece that's 4 by 5 7/8 inch. And you're also going to need your 2 pieces that's 1.5 by 5 7/8, and 2 pieces that are 1.5 by 4 inch. And you're going to need some coordinating cardstock to cover these pieces as well, and your hinges. And our hinges, we're going to be creating those hinges with some cardstock, and in this particular case we're using black cardstock. You can use any type of cardstock or Tyrex. I'm using craft cardstock that's about 80 pounds, and these are 1.5 by 3 7/8. You're going to need 4 pieces, and you're going to need 4 pieces of the 1.5 by 5 7/8. And again, 4 pieces that are 1.5 by 1.5. And you're also going to coordinate these with some pale pink in my case cardstock, and my cardstock are one piece that's 3 7/8 by 5 6/8, one piece that's 4 by 5 7/8, two pieces that are 1.5 by 3 7/8, and two pieces that are 1 3/8 inch by 3 6/8 inch. And then you're also going to be needing your Ciao collection as well to kind of give it a little bit of a flair. So make sure you have score down on your hinges at 3/4 inch, miter your edges, and you're going to use these to assemble your bottom base of your book box. Okay, go ahead and grab your 4 by 5 7/8 piece of chipboard and your hinges that measures 1.5 by 5 7/8 inch. Apply your glue and make sure you leave about that 1/8 inch gusset so that you have room to attach your side to the chipboard piece. Okay, go ahead and grab your two pieces of chipboard that measures 1.5 by 5 7/8, and you're going to put a bead of glue down at the bottom edge and go ahead and adhere it flush against the base, which was 4 by 5 7/8 inch, and then grab your glue and apply some to that hinge that we attached as well. Using your bone folder, make sure you burnish that in very well. Then you're going to once you've got these pieces attached, you can then attach your top portion, which was 1.5 by 4 inch piece of chipboard, and you're going to need two of those for the top. So now we're going to attach our little pulley wheels, and these have little screws. So as you can see, I'm unscrewing those, and then I'm going to pierce a hole at the bottom of my book box base number 2, and I will attach these to the base. So now we're going to put a bead of glue on the top portion of our box, and you're going to grab your 4 by 6 piece of chipboard and you're going to glue it right on top. It has to sit exactly on top of those chipboard pieces, and very important, don't try to put too much pressure or it will collapse. So just be very gentle and let it dry firmly so that you do not have it collapse on you. Go ahead and grab your two hinges that were 1.5 by 5 7/8, and you're going to put it on opposite side of the longer side, and you'll do the same thing on the 1.5 by 3 7/8 inch piece of hinge that go on the opposite side. Now take your decorative pieces and start layering those up and attach it to the bottom base of your book box as you see me doing here. So here I am just going to adhere a piece of cardstock that's 3 7/8 by 5 6/8 inch to the top portion of our base number 2, and this is where the book box will sit on top. And you'll need to coordinate a piece of Ciao Bella collection to kind of decorate that top piece there. And for this, I have cut down a piece of Ciao Bella's that measures 3 6/8 by 5 5/8 inch. Once you have burnished those pieces, then you can then begin to attach your upper portion of the book box. But you really need to burnish very carefully so that none of the edges are lifting up. So finally, we're going to attach those little pieces that we had glued and matted previously for the top lid. And as you can see here, I am just going to apply some glue and glue it straight down onto that top lid that goes onto our book box. I'm just eyeballing it. You can measure it, whatever works for you. I just typically like to eyeball it. And it's never failed me. So if you're a little nervous about that, just go ahead and measure in. It should be about a 1/2 inch from the sides and about 3/8 of an inch on the top and bottom. Once you've got that centered in, go ahead and grab the little 2x4 piece that we had previously covered, that we attached the knob, and center that as well onto the layered piece there. Now real quickly, I just want to point out that I did take 2 pieces of chipboard to give it a dimensional effect to lift up that knob piece. And these were about 2x2 that I just placed underneath that 2x4 just to give it a more of a dimensional effect. So it's entirely up to you. I just wanted to lift it up a little bit more. Okay, so here is the finished outcome. I think it turned out stunning. I love the way it looks. And if you guys don't know, Notre means our life. I think this is a perfect collection if you want to possibly create an album or a project that gives a little bit of a story about how your love life or your family life has come to. And I've used some of the ephemeras from the paper collection, and I backed them up with some chipboard. I've also used some acrylic paint to go around the edges of these pieces, and I've splattered some acrylic paint as well. Now the flowers, I've distressed it again using some acrylic paint. The clock is also from the Notre collection, and if you didn't know, and if I didn't mention it before, Notre means our life. So I think this is a very beautiful way of capturing some of those wonderful memories that you might have with your loved ones. Here on the side, I've used one of the tags that are in the Notre Ciao Bella collection. I've matted it up with some chipboard and distressed the edges with some acrylic paint. And as I stated, I used some pulley wheels. You can use some spools or whatever you want to use that you might have in your craft room. And in the inside, as you can see, it houses a 4x4 album, but I'm going to be showing you guys how to create a mini 4x4 album in part 2 of this video tutorial. So you'll have to stay tuned and check out Ciao Bella's Instagram so that you can stay up to date with all the creative crew and all their motivational, inspirational projects. Also, if you have not checked them out on YouTube, make sure you follow, subscribe, like their YouTube channel and also on Facebook. And if you like to know where you can purchase some of these beautiful paper collection from Ciao, contact them and they will provide you with a list of some of their retailers. Till next time, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video tutorial, and I can't wait to get started on part 2 of our Notre mini album. Till next time, bye bye.